All right, guys. So in this module, we are going to be talking about the 3 checks for great copy. And I've gone ahead and tried to dig up a bunch of examples, give you guys exercises, and really make this module hit home for you, as it covers 3 phenomenal principles that, even before we get down to the credits, I'm going to say is all from Harry Dry. I believe, and I don't know where he originally learned them from. I learned them from him, and I want to share them with you guys because they're extremely powerful, and it really helps you think differently about your copy. So the first check, the first rule, and the reason why I don't like using the word rules, because I kind of like saying, hey, just check your copy. It's not a rule. Obviously, not every single ad follows this, and not every successful ad follows this, but a lot of them do. Okay, it's pattern recognition. And so the first thing is can you visualize it? Okay. The second is, can you falsify the words? Third, can nobody else write this? Okay. If you have 3 no's, so basically if you say, can you visualize this? You're like, no. And can you falsify the words? You're like, no, it's not. And by the way, this just means can somebody say it's true or false? If someone can't say it's true or false, then that's an issue. And if somebody can't, and if somebody else can write this exact ad that you just wrote, that gives you 3 no's. And if you have 3 no's, you probably written something that is not that great. Okay. However, if you have 3 yeses, you're probably scaling. Okay. And so to break these down kind of one by one, because obviously I could just end the video there. And if you've got the point, then great, you can move on. But we've got a lot more to cover here. So number 1, can you visualize it? This is Harry's exercise. Not going to take credit for this at all. But we're going to go through and I'm going to list out 6 words. Okay. And what I want you to do is try to remember as many of the words that you can. Okay. I'm going to go quick. And this is actually an exercise that I want you to do. I want you to engage with on this with me. And if you've already done the exercise, you kind of understand the point, but it doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and run through this. Okay. You're going to tell me the ones that you remember. Okay. Optimized process, dumpster fire, dirty dog, value proposition, best practice, wet newspaper. Which ones do you actually remember? Actually think right now, okay, which ones do you remember? Okay. Well, you probably remembered wet newspaper because it was the last one, but you also probably remember dumpster fire and dirty dog, right? The reason why is because those are visual. They're not abstract, right? If you think of a wet newspaper, you can see that it's a newspaper that is wet. I can visualize it. Best practice, I don't know what that looks like. Kind of hard to visualize. Value proposition, I don't really know what that looks like. It doesn't look like anything. Dirty dog, I can visualize a dog that is dirty, right? Probably covered in mud, probably wet, probably smells like shit. Dumpster fire, I can also visualize that. I know this has been kind of turned into a different saying, but if a dumpster is on fire, I can visualize that, right? I can see it pretty clearly. Optimized process, can't really see that. Right? I don't know what that looks like. Maybe you might start thinking about business, but the point is these are abstract terms. These are visual terms. And so a lot of the times we are using terms that are much more abstract and not visual. Okay. And so when you write words that help someone visualize something, so when someone reads your copy, you need to ask yourself, does it create a visual in that person's mind? And if it does, it's probably a good thing. And it's probably helping you. If it doesn't, then the user won't clearly understand your message because they can't see it, right? For example, if I say this is the softest shirt money can buy, okay, you're going to assume that it's soft, but what is soft? That's so many different things. Whereas if I just tell you it feels like cashmere and it's priced like cotton, you're going to assume that it's soft because it's cashmere and it's a good price because it's priced like cotton, and cotton shirts are super cheap, right? So again, which one gives you a clear picture of the shirt? Probably the one that where I say it feels like cashmere. If you don't know what cashmere is, then the ad's not for you. But my point is you can visualize oh, it's soft. And again, this one communicates more, right? Let the abstract thoughts come as a result of the words that you use, right? Don't tell people it's the softest. Tell them that it feels like cashmere. And as a result of that, they're going to think, oh, that's soft. Okay? Visualize. To show you some phenomenal ads, right? iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket, right? I want you to compare that to if I said iPod, the new MP3 player for you. Most people don't even know what an MP3 player was when this first came out. What's an MP3 player? I have no idea. but I said 1,000 songs in your pocket. Again, is that hard to visualize 1,000 songs in your pocket? Yes, of course, because it's such an extreme. It has, it's this thing that would be really hard to visualize. But I think for a lot of people at the time, and again, because this is such a world-class ad, it's visual where it's like the thought of 1,000 songs for people who were using Walkmans at the time, there's no way you could carry that many discs with you, right? It could be interesting if it was like, it's like 1,000 discs in your pocket, but this just says 1,000 songs in your pocket. You can visualize what that would be like. That's insane. Like, how would you get that many songs into your pocket, right? And then this one here is at 60 miles an hour, the loudest noise in the new Rolls Royce comes from the electric clock, right? You can visualize, okay, what it's like driving at 60 miles an hour. That's pretty fast, right? And the loudest sound that you're going to hear is the electric clock. Very, very visual, right? Again, visualize and help the customer see what you're trying to say, okay? Second one here is number 2. Can you falsify the words, right? This is Harry's second exercise, okay? Again, another fun exercise for us to do here, so let's just do it together. The goal of this next section is that you can only sell this product by pointing at something, okay? So you can't say anything, you just have to point, all right? Now, what I want you to do before I show you mine is I want you to sell this protein bar. If you had to sell this protein bar by saying nothing other than just pointing, what would you do? Like, what would you point at to try to sell this bar? Now, this might be hard for some of you guys because you might be thinking like, gosh, I don't know. Like, Spencer, you're putting me on the spot. And if you want to pause it, you can. But think like, okay, I've got to sell this protein bar and all I can do is point. What should I point at, right? Think through that. For me, what I did is I just said, these 3 things right here. I'm pointing at agave nectar, I'm pointing at peanuts, and I'm pointing at cocoa powder. That's it. I'm not saying anything. I said, look, that's what I'm pointing at. Okay. And now what could you grab from that? Well, it's the 3-ingredient protein bar, right? It has 3 ingredients. And to give you guys an example of this, of how successful this was, obviously, again, the pointing will talk about falsifying, but this says made with simple ingredients. True or false? Well, this could simple is slightly more abstract. I would have maybe said like made with, 4 ingredients, because is that true or false? Is that falsifiable? Like, yeah, that's true. There's 3 egg whites, 6 almonds, 4 cashews, and 2 dates. And in case you guys didn't know, this is our X bar that got acquired for $600 million in 2017 from Peter Rahal, who now actually, by the way, started David's Protein, which is where I actually stole this photo from. But think about that. I just pointed. I'm like, hey, it's made with simple ingredients. There it is. Like, just point there. And what's funny is he did the exact same thing. I don't have a photo of this, but he did the exact same thing with David's Protein. All he does now is he just points at the label. He's like, this is the highest this protein bar has the most amount of protein for its calories. It's the highest ratio of like for every calorie, for every protein. I actually have it right here. Like literally all he does is this, like look at it in the label. And by the way, they don't taste great. So he's not talking about taste, but he just says 20 grams of protein, 150 calories, 0 sugar. That's it. He just has it like right in the name, because their actual brand positioning is that they have the most amount of protein with the fewest calories. Very similar to what they did here. They just pointed. So you just point at the label. Look, it's my claim. Okay. Again, falsifiable means like, is this a concrete thing that we can say is true or is false? Right? Can this writing be claimed true or false? And so again, I didn't really understand this at first. So I'm going to try to help you guys understand this with this example where it's like, let's just say you say, oh, he's intelligent, right? Or he's smart, right? That's not really something that you can say is true or false, right? You can't really say like, oh yeah, that's true, he is smart, without more context, right? But if I just say he scored 1,600 on the SAT, and for those of you that don't know what the SAT is like a standard test that people take inside the US that kind of, you get a score, I think it's out of like 2,000 or something. I'm from Canada, so I don't remember, but I did take it. And my point is like, if you have a score over 1,500 on the SAT, you're considered like smart as shit. So anyways, for people who know what the SAT is, it's like he scored 1,600 on the SAT. It's like, oh, damn, that guy's smart. You see what happens there? You see how the brain automatically makes the assumption that, oh yeah, he's intelligent, right? Because this is a fact. It's like, did he like, again, is this true or false? Like, if he didn't score 1,600, that's false. But again, you're making a statement here where it's like, this is true or false. It's like he scored 1,600 on the SAT. That's a falsifiable statement. Okay. When you write words that are falsifiable, it communicates, and your ad likely communicates more than what it says. Okay. And so again, just saying he scored 1,600 on the SAT doesn't say, oh, he's smart, but it communicates that. And communication, what your writing communicates is far more important than what it actually says. Okay. Again, here's some other great ads. It takes 3.1 seconds to read this ad, the same time it takes a Model S to go from 0 to 60. And they've got the blur there, right? You can say this is true or false. If you get in a Model S and you gas it and you time yourself, you will go 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. It's a true statement, right? I love this one from Purple. And by the way, 206 million views on this ad. Highly recommend you guys go watch this ad. I'll link it down below. But this is the raw egg test. So how to use a raw egg to determine if your mattress is awful. 330 pounds of tempered glass, 4 raw eggs, 3-foot drop, and they drop it and the eggs don't break. They do this with the other mattresses, and guess what? They break, right? And they just made this up. They just said like, hey, here's how to use a raw egg to determine if your mattress is awful. But there's nothing that says like, oh, if your mattress can't handle a 300-pound tempered glass and keep eggs, it's not without breaking, it's a horrible mattress. But no, like that is how they positioned it. It's like, hey, like this is a falsifiable thing. Like go and test it. It will work. It's true. Okay. And then the final thing here is, can nobody else say this? And I love this one because Harry doesn't actually have an exercise for this, but I said, screw it. Like, let's just come up with Spencer's exercise for this in honor of Harry. And so what I did here is I said, hey, let's go to the last 3 static ads that you made. And this can be something where if you want to pause the video, you can, but like go and take a look at the last 3 static ads that you made. And statics are just simple because they're visual, right? So go and take a look at the last 3. I have 3 examples here. So I just pulled these up. And by the way, guys, like we do this for every brand. Like even our brands that we're scaling right now, like I would pull them up, but a lot of them we have NDAs. So I just pulled some of these. I blurred out the brand, but some of you may know this brand. My point is I pulled this up. It says breastfeeding turned you into a cookie monster, right? New moms, you're doing something incredibly hard. Finally, just 3 meals a day. So here's the last 3 statics that pulled up. Now, what you're going to do after that, again, you guys can do this as well if you want to follow along. Just pause the video as you need. Now go to your biggest competitor. Okay, well, I just went to Happy Mammoth. They're probably one of the biggest competitors in the space. And they have a supplement called Ultimate Cravings Control, right? And so what I did is I was like, okay, well, let me take this product and let me just see if I swapped the products into those ads, if the ad would still make sense. Again, you can do this exact same thing. You don't have to do the graphics that I'm about to do, but let's just see, right? Breastfeeding turned you into a cookie monster. Try Happy Mammoth Ultimate Cravings Control. Kind of works. It actually, in fact, it does work, right? New moms, you're doing something incredibly hard. Try Ultimate Cravings Control. Yeah, for postpartum hormones. Sure, makes sense. Finally, just 3 meals a day. Ultimate Cravings Control. It makes sense, right? So these all fail the falsifiable test, okay? And so when we talk about can nobody else say this, this is probably the hardest one, like by far the hardest one. But again, the goal, like the gold standard is, can I make sure that I never write an ad that a competitor can sign? Now, you never will because, like, again, people will copy you no matter what, even if it doesn't make sense. And so that's why, again, thinking about the original thought, if you guys watch the module about being bored, right? You can essentially be the first to say something where you kind of own that, right? Now, for example, if somebody does like here's how to figure out if your mattress is good, do the egg test. It's like Purple already did that. They already kind of own that. You know what I mean? And so like if somebody else says it, they're just gonna be like, oh, well, Purple already said this, right? But my point is like, if you can try to write ads like this, you're likely going to create world-class ads that other people can't really, do anything with. Like they can't copy you because only you can say it, right? This is how you create breakthroughs. All right. And position your brand properly. Again, this forces you to look deeper at what you're actually selling. And if you ask me, the product that you're selling. And when you write words that are unique to you and that only your brand can own, you create exclusivity. And this is where I believe like this is where breakthroughs happen and like are part of the reason why breakthroughs truly happen is because if a consumer feels like your brand is the exclusive brand or is exclusive, right? If they feel like you are exclusive, they have to buy from you. Not that they will buy from you, they have to buy from you. Why do they have to buy from you? Because you're the brand that does that thing. There's no other brand that does that, right? And that's the power of like when you actually think deeper about like, hey, you know what, even, and I understand there's opportunity costs and like there's a certain amount of ads that you want to make every week. And we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff as we continue forward. But like when you're really trying to think about a breakthrough, be like, man, what is something that I can say that nobody else can say that will force you to look for answers that you probably haven't, really looked at and you haven't really thought about? Now, again, because I want to show examples, I love these 3 examples here. Now, this one is actually from Harry, where it's a New Balance ad where it says worn by supermodels in London and dads in Ohio, right? Now, this actually hammers all 3 because it's visual, right? Supermodels in London, you can see it. Dads in Ohio. Obviously, you can see dads in Ohio, and then you have the falsifiable, like, is this true or false? It's like, yeah, like supermodels in London have worn New Balances. There's photos of them, right? And have dads in Ohio worn New Balances? 100%. And then again, can any other brand say this? Not really, because many other brands are known for being a dad shoe, right? New Balance kind of is, right? So that kind of passes all 3. Now, these 2, or this one specifically, Absolute Vodka, falls a little bit short. Like, can you visualize absolute perfection? Like, you can't really visualize perfection, but you can visualize absolute, like at least the vodka. It's like, oh, I can see that, right? And then from there, is this falsifiable? Like, this is not really a true or false statement, right? This is just kind of a statement in general of like, this is perfect. But what I love about this is that it is only one of one. Like, only Absolute Vodka could write this ad because it's in their brand name. And I absolutely love this because this just shows you, it's like when you dive a little deeper, and again, you read this ad, you're like, that makes sense, right? Where if any other brand just said Absolute Perfection on their, tequila brand or on their, other vodka brand, like if Grey Goose said Absolute Perfection, it wouldn't really make any sense to be like, sure. But like for this one, it's like, it's creative, right? And then this one from Liquid Death is obviously awesome as well. Don't be scared. It's just water, right? And the reason why I love this one is because, again, like, Evian, Dasani, like Aquafina, they're not going to make it ad that says don't be scared, it's just water. Like, it wouldn't make any sense. But for Liquid Death specifically, and I kind of cut this ad off, you can kind of see the whole ad there. It just makes sense and it's funny, right? Only they can say it. Okay. So again, going back and just kind of recapping everything, the first and most important thing is like, with the words that you just wrote, can you see it? Okay. The second thing is, can I say it's true or false? Is it falsifiable? Again, can I see it? Can I say that it's true or false? And the third one is can I be the only one who says it? Right? Again, can I see it? Is it visual? Can I say it's true or false? Is it falsifiable? And can I be the only one who says it? Right? Can you own this? Is this unique to you? I want to give, again, a massive shout out to Harry. I am trying to get connected with him. If anybody knows him, let him know how much I appreciate him and how much value he shared. And just for those of you guys that don't know this, because I'm kind of showing this podcast here, highly recommend if you guys want to go and watch Harry talk about this. It's a lot of what I'm talking about in the copywriting program. So it's just a lot of like kind of filling in some gaps. I've studied this video, truthfully. Like, I probably watched this thing front to back like 4 or 5 times now. I've watched it a lot because when somebody prepares as much as he did for this interview, and he actually mentioned how much he prepared for this, you could tell that this guy basically put years and years and years of knowledge and practice and expertise into, an hour video, which is phenomenal. And so I'm breaking down some of his concepts from there. I obviously have a lot of other concepts from a lot of different copywriters, and you'll see them down below. But for what he's doing in the space and how he's kind of communicating copywriting to people in 2025, 2026 and beyond is a message that needs to be heard by a lot of people. So I'm not even going to pretend or act like I came up with this or I have this. He has all of the credit, and I want to, share this with you guys because, he's helped me understand a lot of things, and I haven't even had a conversation with the guy. So with that said, those are the credits. Hopefully that made sense for you guys. Hopefully that was a fun exercise and got you guys thinking. And again, I look forward to seeing you in the modules to follow.